Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to my talk. Today I'm going to talk about SEO tags became easier to be tested. So, what's the impact of JavaScript and SEO? Let's talk about the problem. When we talk about impact of JavaScript, the first thing comes into my mind is about compatibility. The compatibility across different platforms, different versions of browsers, and things like that. Then how fast the content is rendered, what happens to each and every link which is provided in each JavaScript page, how about lazy loading of images, page load time. All this can be controlled via performance test to some aspect, but not the metadata, what data we are having on the JavaScript page. So the metadata, from example, let me explain you what are the metadata. The metadata could be the title. What is the title of the page? What is the descriptions of the page? What are the keywords which are the page? Are those pages are relevant what user were looking for? So those are the metadata. So those metadatas are very important and key factors when we talk about JavaScript from the SEO perspective. But when we talk about testing metadata on e-com website, let's say take an example of Amazon. Amazon is a website wherein there are millions of pages which is having millions of descriptions, millions of titles, millions of images, things like that. And to test it across, like saying that this is relevant, this is what we expected as title, this is what we expected as keyword, or from the perspective of whether we are showing the right image or right path to the user. Those are really hard to test, and it's really impossible to test manually when we think about from that like testing all this metadata. So what we can do about it? So the easiest way when I think about is to tackle via automation. How we can tackle it via automation. So then I started my research, like what people are doing, how people are testing around this. And then I came across the word which is known as web scraping. Web scraping is a process of using bots to extract the content from data from the website. However, web scraping is not illegal. Sometimes some website may have some terms and condition of not allowing scrapping to certain extent. We need to read it before start to scrap their website. Um, Technically speaking, scrapping is a task that consumes significant amount of bandwidth to anybody, and it also adds on computational resources and things like that. So we should do it when it's only needed. And the most important thing about web scraping is like how we are using the extracted data. However, we need to be very cautious about copyrights and fragments when we are using the data of other, or we are trying to analyze the data from other websites. So how I did it? I came through an open source tool known as Scrapy, and it was a collaborative framework which was extracting the data you need from the website. It's simple, fast, and extendable. It's very fast and powerful, it's portable, and it's easily adaptable to any framework or anything. And you can extend it to like Selenium, Beautiful Soup, uh, many other libraries. I've seen people are doing that, and it's a very good documentation. So I have a project over here using this command Scrapy start project and outpost start scrapper would create a project for us. And the project would have structure like this, wherein you will have the config and then output scrapper when you create it. Then you will have a spider folder and you would have settings, pipeline, middleware, item in it. So let's understand in detail what all this means. Spider folder. Inside the spider folder contain all the work of future Scrapy file that needs to extract the data. So here if we go, I'll see here I have created an example scrapper and it will use this to scrap our data. Then next we go to items. The items folder contain this one, items. So what does this usually contain? This usually contains that behaves like a Python dictionary and provides an abstraction layer to store scrap data within. Now we will talk about middleware. Scrapy middleware are useful if you want to modify Scrapy runs and make requests to the server. For example, scrapping projects if you don't need to modify them. Middleware, pipelines. Scrapy pipelines are for extracting the data for processing the steps you want to implement after scrapping your data. You could clean your data, you could organize, or even drop the data in this pipeline. Settings. The general settings is how Scrapy runs. For example, you can actually create a delay between the request, caching, downloading files, etc. So what I did over here is I created a simple Scrapy project and I added it like it should crawl Reddit, and inside Reddit it should get the titles, votes, times, comments, and like which are the items, and that's all. So how do I run it? So I just need to type Scrapy crawl Reddit bot. So now you would see it's crawling Reddit bot. And I could say what is our request count, what is our what is queue and things like that. I would get it over here. And if you want your data to be in CSV, in the CSV format, you could add feed format as CSV and feed URI as Reddit CSV. In conclusion, I would like you to try this week scrapping a website and share your experience. Please tag me so that I can gain insight what interesting problem you're trying to solve. I did it for SEO. You could use it for another perspective. Last not least, I'm Trisha Chetani. I've worked as a software tester for past 9 years. During my 9 years of experience, I worked on front-end, back-end, as well as mobile testing. Thank you. Thanks for listening to me today.